march around those interests. We say these are our core interests that all of us are fighting for. When we do that, it doesn't matter whether you belong to this party or that party, everybody will be working towards the same Igbo national interest. And this will help to reduce conflicts among the Igbos, because conflicts arising from issues that are more personal than the entire Igbo national interest are sources of insecurity in the southeast. Number 2, big question: how can we deal with kidnapping and armed robbery? I felt so sad when I heard from Dr. Ejiofor yesterday, Chikasin, how kidnapping and armed robbery raised down industries and establishments in Newi from 50-something to 5. So it has been agitating my mind, and I say, how can we deal with such issues? You know, it's often said that security is not the job of only security agents. It's everybody's business. You see an old man in other clients, an old woman in other clients who cannot even take a walk of maybe 500 meters, but is sitting and the window blind is drawn. She is watching. Everything she sees, she is making a call to the police. But in our own situation, you see someone who is walking like a straggler, who obviously constitutes a risk to security. You just bypass and go where you are going. So we must develop the attitude of making security our business. So there is need for deep security awareness in the entire Southeast. We must be sensitive to security issues. How can we deal with the menace of herdsmen? That's a very big problem. We are told that farming is a major area, a major take-off point for us to diversify our economy. But you till ground, you plant, and herdsmen will come and destroy the crops. So it is a big security issue that we need to think out how we can address it. Some of these security issues are really not discussed in the marketplace. That is perhaps why we cannot talk about certain things right here. There will be a venue and a time for such detailed discussions that will involve the need to know. Now, one bordering issue is that in the past, our Igbo politicians had second address, which means that as politicians, they were also doing businesses. But today, our Igbo politicians have no second address. And because they have no second address, they do or die politics. They are desperate. They are prepared to do anything, including compromising the security of their brothers, of their mothers, of their neighbors. They engage our youth that should be in school in political thuggery. So our politicians have become a problem to the security of the Southeast. So any issue concerning security, our politicians need to be here.
Yes.
Our politicians need to be told that you should look at that young boy, that young girl as your daughter, as your son, and not see him as an instrument you can use to achieve your desire to hold this office or that office. Except we begin to do this, tell them the truth. We will continue to have our security democracy compromised by our so-called political leaders. So at this point, let's just stop here and take questions. May I call Mark to please come and direct on the issue of Q&A. Mark, please.
Barrister Ejiofor made. One of the key ones was that celebration of criminals.
Yes.
You know, we don't know how important that thing is. Because nobody asks anymore. Look at this person who I just saw the other day, just lounging around. Somebody is driving one luxurious car and it's being celebrated. And this is Christmas time. A lot of these people who go to rob and do all manner of things come to the village to come and be celebrated. Perhaps you can tell us what we can begin to do to cure that one. Thank you.
So my question is, okay, first of all, I want to thank the moderator for pointing out the fact that our politicians are the biggest problem we have to our economy. And he cited how they have succeeded over the years in encouraging the youth to go into sobering. So now it's like a fight between the politicians and the society on how to balance this situation, like to direct the mind of our youth positively. So my question is, what plans does SEREDEC have? Do you have any plan in place to help redirect the mind of the youth towards entrepreneurship or towards encouraging them to go into entrepreneurship and sustaining the fact, given all the problems that they have to deal with to go into entrepreneurship? Thank you very much.
We'll add two more questions from here.
Good morning.
And all of you want to ask questions, put up your hand.
General raised, which is now being institutionalized in election monitoring systems for African countries, is making politicians, making communities know that politicians are the highest risk of security. And they're forcing politicians or political parties to sign a contract with the people among themselves. They're giving a regulation of what they can do, and then watching them, they sign between themselves and the youth, because their children don't go to war, don't do that. Can we look at that system and see how we can adapt it with our own electoral monitoring system?
Please, sir, I want to ask a question. You say something about ways of controlling herdsmen. I don't know whether it's a question or a suggestion coming from the agri point of view. Thank you.
Okay. The next is conferred with chieftaincy title. But if you begin to question the source of wealth of some people, they will not come to be celebrated. So it's a major problem. It's our value system and family upbringing. I'll give you an example. In my place, there's somebody who came home, bought a car for the mom. The boy, he doesn't know what he's doing. The woman said, please, take your car and go. I don't know whether tomorrow, you have used me now, tomorrow I will die. I don't need your car, just take your car. This is a life story. They take your, but because of the poor economic times, people tend to celebrate criminals. It's quite unfortunate. But I think on the activities of politicians, I've always emphasized this, that if politics is about service to the people, you don't have to keep people to serve. Because the same people that you are going to serve, that you need their services. The fact remains that our values are no more there. But I also continue to say, if you watch my programs on television, for people who use other people's children for tolerance, I'll ask you, if somebody is recruiting you or enlisting your services, ask the person to bring the child to lead, and you follow. You cannot be using my child to go and do toggery and do other things, and your children are abroad schooling. So you need enlightenment, and another thing is illiteracy. They give them drugs. The politicians give them drugs, and they do all these things just out of their own minds.
Prof, you know this issue of a magical breakthrough. You know, I think it started with our politicians. You see someone who was a motor-packed out, a political talk, all of a sudden he's a counselor and he's riding CRV, air-conditioned. And there is nothing he has to show for it other than that he was a talk. And his mates who did not have access to such position, they see him. They have to look out for other means of succeeding, like himself. So they go into Yahoo, they go into armed robbery, they go into kidnapping. All those are easy means of making money, just like that politician or a talk in the motor park who also became a luxurious car owner. So that is still the same age grade issue. Oh, your age grade has become this. What are you? So he has to look for shortcuts to become that. And our system, our social system, we have lost the core values to rebuke and to say, where are you coming from? That used to be the equal value. A mother will refuse to eat what the son brings home because she cannot attest to the source. But today, it's ABCC, that's a terrible one. And I guess that as time goes on, SEREDEC will go into the issue of rehabilitation of our youth. We will get there, but it's still a little bit far from where we are now. But eventually, we are likely to get there. And my sister, Regina, political parties to say, I think SEREDEC should float this idea even before January, that all political parties should sign that they will not employ our youths for illegalities. And perhaps it may gain credence, and in the future, it may become a policy or even a law that the National Assembly may pass. And that could address this issue of thuggery using our youths. I think SEREDEC can kick it up. And controlling herdsmen, yes. I raised the issue and I did not profile a solution. The problem today is that herdsmen or people in the guise of whatsoever, they come to our village heads, district heads, and they sell community land to people they do not know. In the past, you don't sell community land to people who are not members of the community or not known very well by the community. But today, someone will come from any part of the country, buy land in a remote place, and before you know it, herdsmen have occupied the place and they are applying for permit to build some structure. I think everybody should go home and educate our village heads, community leaders. Don't sell land except you verify the person who is buying your land from you. Otherwise, you are inviting trouble that will be endemic and last almost forever and will consume the community. And there should be neighborhood watch. If you know that there's some, if you know that you have strangers in your community, please report. And every community should outline a clear channel of reporting incidences up to the local government chairman. This way, we can alert ourselves and know when danger is lurking and when hate men are around. In any case, some people who commit these atrocities, they are not even following the cow. They are living at Okiwe Junction. They perhaps may be staying in Atiza, and there are ants in such places. In the night, they use pickups and move them and move people who live and relate with some people in those areas, and they move them into the bush or to some places they want to attack. They attack and use cover of night and return to these places with their arms. So it's not actually headsmen. Thank you.
Please, for the benefit of, I want to make a clarification. These people parading, kidnapping people are not headsmen. I have always emphasized and made clarification on that. These are terrorists, extension of Boko Haram. I've said it publicly. So referring to them as headsmen, we'll be coexisting with headsmen. The only thing we need is extra vigilance, especially during this Christmas period. Know the way you go to, know how you go. Thank you.
I'm going to be, so I don't want the right of my friend. I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to say something and just see it as a comment, see it as a way to drive it home. We're here for the SEREDEC economic development discussions. I remember when Clinton defeated George Bush, a major commentator, the black man of CNN, Bernie, said, it is the economy, stupid. What's the economy? It is the economy, stupid. There are things that I believe is beyond the immediate purview of what we have, what we are here for. Even some of the discussions we're having about moral changes and societal changes and our value system and all that, we hear that every day in church. We hear that it's going to happen, it should be happening. What I think we should be looking at is structural, fundamental changes. And I want to say that beyond every other thing, it is education. Stupid and unstupid. It is education. So whether it is formal or vocational, SEREDEC, beyond even the bigger picture, is capacity. You must develop, we must go back to where people that are skilled can be gainfully employed. You can blame the politicians, you can blame our youths all you want. If you don't give them something to occupy that vacuum, they will occupy themselves. They are hungry. So while we are talking about this, I urge SEREDEC to include in the overarching view and the review of our system a strong intervention in vocational education. How do you engage the expatriates? How do you engage agencies like City and Girls to come back? People need to show that if you can't go to college, you can do this. And then, how do you enhance the capacity in the schools? People are not learning anything. If you look at poverty, there's a direct correlation between when some of you went to school, when you learn something and what is going on now. And the government cannot do it alone because of, obviously, the fund issues and some of the issues being said, no matter how well intended. So, SEREDEC, please, look into how you can strengthen the educational system and how you can bring about some level of certification of people. If you are a carpenter, you should be certified. If you're a mechanic, these kind of things. So you have a pride of place in what you're doing and you can command better pay and all that. That will really, really touch the issue of security.